A 20-year-old mother named Kapari Leniata was tortured with a hot iron rod, then stripped, tied up, doused in gasoline and thrown into a fire at the hands of an angry mob. She was accused of killing a young boy through the use of witchcraft. Hundreds of people, including children, watched as the young woman burned to death. It was the latest sorcery-related killing in Papua New Guinea. Witchcraft is often blamed for misfortunes in rural parts of that country. Some are calling for tougher legislation to deal with the issue. Christian Bishop David Piso told a New Guinea media called The National that sorcery-related killings were a growing problem and urged the government to come up with a law to stop such practice. The US Embassy in Port Moresby, the capital of Papua New Guinea, said the killing of Leniata was a brutal murder and said it was evidence of pervasive gender-based violence in the nation. The Prime Minister also condemned the killing. Police Commissioner Tom Kulunga suggested the courts be established to deal with the allegations of witchcraft instead of villagers dispensing their own justice against suspected witches. In the case of Kapari Leniata, police and firefighters were outnumbered by the crowd and unable to intervene. National Police spokesman Dominic Kakas said that more than 50 people were believed to have laid hands on the victim and to have committed crimes during the mob attack. He also said that Leniata's husband was the prime suspect in her death. Leniata's husband has fled the province and no arrests have been made. Suicide rates in the US military are still very high, as 2012 saw a record 349 soldiers kill themselves. This ever-increasing numbers of suicides has moved the American military to begin a series of initiatives and programs designed to address the issue. At one of the mandatory suicide prevention sessions last October, an Army chaplain began what Staff Sergeant Victoria Getman dubbed a mass Christian prayer. According to Sergeant Getman, the lights were turned off and candles were passed around. It was at this point that the chaplain instructed the soldiers to bow their heads. Getman, an atheist and 17-year veteran of the armed forces, knew that the prayer session was optional. However, she noted that many in the session were trapped. Many of them were soldiers fresh out of boot camp, and one of them was a Buddhist and at least 2 others were Jewish. The 2 Jewish gave up their Yom Kippur holiday to attend what they thought was a mission-critical program about suicide prevention. Getman brought up the issue with one of her supervisors after she realized that the prayer was an entirely Christian prayer. She reported that the chaplain said we have to have something bigger than ourselves. We need, and he stresses need, to have something divine in our life. I heard him refer to his Heavenly Father and Lord. She continued to say, I went to my first sergeant a couple of days later. He comes back to me and said it was just a miscommunication. I was horrified by that too. I felt like I was being blown off. According to Getman, the response she received was completely incompetent. Soon afterwards, Mikey Weinstein of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation made contact with Army officials. He too was dissatisfied with the response he got and has threatened a lawsuit if a proper response is not given. Meanwhile, the Army claims it did nothing wrong. The Army issued a statement that read, "The Army is cognizant of our soldiers' religious freedoms and would never violate their free exercise of religion or choice not to profess a religious faith." Weinstein points out that 11 other soldiers in attendance also filed a complaint about this particular event. This incident comes amid many accusations of Christian proselytizing in the military over the years. Sergeant Getman expressed deep concern for young soldiers that try to go in there and make complaints, because I know that it can be intimidating. I had to fight my way. I feel bad for all these young soldiers in this situation who are trying to get help.